Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim, and our guest today is David Anderson. So, David, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do.
Where I live in Arizona, greater Phoenix area. So where we're already, I think it's going to be 87 degrees tomorrow. So summer's just around the corner for us. Sorry to everybody else. And I do a variety of things. I'm one of those people that can't ever sit still or do whatever. I've had a marketing agency for over 25 years, a software company. I do coaching, I do speaking, I sit on boards. So I kind of bounce around doing a lot of stuff. And thankfully, I have a great team that supports me, that are the ones who really get stuff done.
So, yeah, I'm curious more about your businesses. Obviously, you mentioned you've been doing it for some time. So kind of how did you get into this?
How did I get into being an entrepreneur or
Yes,
one of the
yeah.
specific businesses?
Yeah.
I'm not from an entrepreneurial family, which is very interesting. My dad was, corporate 25, big time, but kind of got the itch when I was younger, cutting yards, plowing snow, grew up back east, all kinds of little things. And then when I left college, ASU, I was working for somebody. Then I worked for the federal government and a bunch of different stuff. And then honestly, I got fired one day from a job that I had. And I was like, I'm tired of doing this. And so myself and somebody else that was at the company, we went off and started our marketing agency. So my wife and I were 1 month pregnant with our first child on the way when I came home and said, honey, how long can you keep working, as we start this? And I'm blessed beyond what I should be. Things worked out. And, we've started multiple businesses. Some have done great. Some have failed absolutely miserably, lost more money than I care to count, but learned a lot along the way.
For sure. So in terms of your marketing agency, right, like obviously 25 years ago, marketing was a bit different than what it is today. So what did you kind of, start off doing in terms of services, and how has that kind of, evolved to 2025?
Yeah, it's a great question. And you're right. I mean, every industry has evolved, but I'm an old man, as you can see from the gray hair here. I was really kind of at the infancy of the internet, my partner and I. And so we went through the digital revolution, how that revolution, however you want to define it, how that changed how marketing and how you got work done and how you communicated with clients. He was creative side. I was the PR communication side. So we kind of brought our two different specialties into one shop to go forward. And things have never really stopped changing. And now AI within the past 18 months, 2 years, however you want to look at it, is, while the digital revolution was huge, AI will be the most significant, again, revolution, however you want to define it, in how business will be conducted. And we're dealing with that just like almost every other business. Sometimes I wish I owned a car wash, because then I wouldn't have to really worry about AI and everything, else. But it's good. But yeah, constant change, always looking to the future, willing to make mistakes. And hopefully you do a few things right along the way.
For sure. And then I guess in terms of marketing, right? Because obviously, marketing is different. As you mentioned, industries evolve, lots of different verticals. Let's just talk about like your business today. Like, who do you serve exactly, and how do you best serve your clients?
Yeah, we started as as a very generalist agency, and we're that way for a long time. And in the last few years, probably 3, 4 years, we have really done a lot more focus on travel, tourism, outdoor recreation, products that are outdoor focused, really in the, broader category of travel and tourism destinations. And that has seen a lot of changes over the years. Also, how that, people spend their time, how people spend their money, how people purchase products, how people book, trips that they're taking, how people find what they want to do. So it's very broad. But, a couple of years ago, again, I apologize. We started a software company, Lighthouse PE, that uses proximity and other behavioral patterns to send messages directly to people's mobile devices based on their behaviors. Because what marketing is about, and AI is driving it more and more, is hyper personalization. At the end of the day, our goal is that you don't receive a message to your phone that isn't 100% relevant to you. Wouldn't that be great? Get rid of all that other crap that we get.
Yeah, 100%. So in terms of travel, right? Travel is a big industry. It's so many things going on, super broad. So are you focused more on marketing hotels or third-party platforms that, sell flights and hotels or travel like outdoor products? I guess like what is kind of,
Yeah.
if you can
That
share
it,
some more specific, kind of examples.
Yeah, definitely destinations. So, like, we do everything for the state of Arizona. Tourism's huge in Arizona, so many places to go. We do hotels, we do, with state parks, through game and fish organizations. We don't really do much in platforms. We have a platform, ironically, as you asked that question. I was just kind of like, huh. So we obviously market that, but think destinations where people go, experiences, think experiences where people can have an experience, and how getting people to building awareness about those destinations and potential experiences and getting people to engage with them.
For sure. And in terms of marketing for the state of Arizona, I mean, now it's starting to pick up like the busiest time of year, spring training around the corner. Is that kind of what you focus on is, for these kinds of events or, spring training, spring break, things like that, is getting people to consider Arizona, or kind of how do you focus on driving folks also bring people in slower times to see the Grand Canyon, for example. So yeah, I'm curious about that.
Yes, 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 and yes. So it's to all of those. Obviously, the spring trainings, the Waste Management Phoenix Open that just happened. Those are people really know about theirs, but there's so much more to Arizona that we help educate people about. The Nava, well, all of our reservations. There's so many places to go outside of the well-known things to do. There's a lot of over tourism right now to places where people, hear about, want to go to. We're helping people to experience the unexpected. Arizona's become a big foodie place. There's a lot of great restaurants, Bram's, Fox restaurants, all of that. So, there's great wineries here down in northern and southern Arizona. People wouldn't necessarily think about that. So it's really about the unexpected or the aha, I didn't know about things to do here in Arizona, plus all of our amazing resorts, great hiking trails throughout the state here that you want to do. So, and we do that with all of our clients. It is, again, about educating, building awareness, providing that, oh, that'd be a cool experience to do.
100%. And then in terms of specific marketing, so obviously you mentioned, right, Arizona, but I mean, if you're talking about channels, right? I mean, do you do all the channels? Like, obviously, I'm sure that they're, marketing in airports. For example, I've seen those types of ads, video ads, if you're watching a YouTube video, or social media, digital ads. I mean, there's lots of different advertisements that you see, especially for, the visit state ads, which, I see that all the time. And especially when I used to be in consulting, I was traveling every week, and from airport to airport, you see a lot of those advertisements. So yeah, I'm curious about that as well.
Again, Dan, I'm going to say yes, 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 and yes. All of the above, heavy social media stuff, the TikToks, Instagrams, you name it, all of the above. But we also look for specific activations. Like, we'll do stuff in other states, like Chicago in the middle of winter. And we'll do, we have a big flip flop ad, and there's stuff that we go way out of market, obviously, to bring people in different times of the year to do it. So yeah, it's all about, we're all bombarded with messaging every single day. It's about breaking through that to get people's attention and get them to take an action. The action may be click on a website. It may be to check something out. It may be subscribe to our Instagram page. It may be whatever, but to engage current and potentially new clients with our brand's products so that we can keep them informed and give them a reason to engage with us.
100%. And then obviously with ads, right? There's been a big shift in terms of ads that are professionally done, where you spend tens of thousands of dollars to actually bring out a whole film crew and record the ad versus ads that are done by someone's phone on TikTok. So I guess like, what are you kind of seeing in those trends, and kind of how do you, in terms of when you're doing ads, like balance it out between those two different types of ads?
Yeah, that's a great question. And AI is driving that even more and more. For us, it's easy to create an ad on using AI and put it up, but is it strategically right? Is it going to really get the message across that you want? Is the image just the same image that your competitors are using because you're just pulling images, stock images out? Are you really defining yourself? Are you really separating yourself from the pack? Are you targeting the right group of people that are seeing it? Are you talking to the people who already know you? As far as the quality of videos, ads, whatever, really depends on the venue you're using. TikTok, Instagram, all of those. Yeah, you need nothing more than an Apple phone. I'm an Apple guy, so I'll stick with Apple phone that you're using there. So it's absolutely appropriate, but there's also times that you want to use higher quality stuff. And also, how you create like a package of B-roll of great footage that can be used for lots of different things is the smart way to do it. But yeah, everybody has different budgets, different strategies, whatever. AI can definitely do it for you. Is it being effective? Is it really getting the right message across? Is it differentiating you? That's where you have to make some strategic business decisions.
Yeah, I agree. I think AI is a great tool, but it's probably not 100% there in terms of, generating like the right ad. And I've seen some people use it, but I think also from what I've seen, at least personally, like the human eye can kind of at this point tell if there's too much AI going on. So I think more and more people in 2025 are resonating with authenticity, right? Like, can you actually be authentic? And like, am I going to keep scrolling, or am I actually going to like watch the video because, I feel like, as you mentioned earlier, right, that what I'm seeing is relevant to me and something I'm super interested in.
Yeah. Dan, you actually, as you were talking, I'm like, the word I'm going to talk about is authentic. And you hit the nail on the head. We're smart. Your consumers are smart. And if it's just like, oh, this is just cut and pasted, this isn't really it. But is it really authentic? Is it really, hitting me? Huge, huge in building brand loyalty. People will see it. Oh, so I got 5 trillion impressions. Well, who gives a crap if nobody's clicking on what you need or, whatever. It's all about what you put out there that generates your, again, current or potential customers to take action. If they're just seeing it, oh, well, yeah, they're remembering it. There is some great, but without action, it's kind of useless.
For sure. Yeah. And I think I'm always curious, right? 'Cause, with some ads and some marketing campaigns, it can be hard to really track that, right? So if somebody sees an ad like an airport and they book a flight, online, it's like, how can you really measure that? So I guess from your standpoint, how do you measure success with some of your campaigns that are harder to track and directly attribute, like a meta ad when someone's clicking and actually adding to cart?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. Listen, you have to have a solid strategy about airport ads and stuff like that is great for building awareness. It's absolutely, you see like NAU, Northern Arizona University, you see things that are local when people here go, oh, I didn't know there was a school in Flagstaff. I thought it was. So that is harder to track. You can see how many eyeballs are on it, but you're building awareness. And so that a family's there for vacation in a college, a kid who's a senior in high school sees that, loves it there. Hey, I want to look at this school is really hard to make that connection, but it does work when the next ad they see is on Meta or Facebook Meta, whatever you want to call them today, or, something, and they click on a link and go there. So not all marketing can be tracked dollar for dollar to an ROI, and you have to accept that there's different ways of doing it within airports. Now, you put a QR code on the thing. So hey, if interested, click here. That's a great way to do it. My favorite ads are the ones on the baggage claim thing because I live in Arizona, so I can say this: we have the worst baggage delivery system in the world. You could take another flight, international flight, before your bags ever get to you at Sky Harbor Airport. So you have plenty of time to stand there and look at the ads on the turnstile things, and that QR codes there. Those are things that you can track. Whereas, an ad on Meta or on Google or somewhere on something you're seeing, you should be able to see how many clicks are we getting? What are we getting from there?
Exactly. Yeah, those ads are much more, clear in terms of the kind of attribution that you're getting. So in terms of, 2025, right? I mean, obviously we're still in Q1. You have 10 and a half months left to go. So in terms of your business, what are some of your biggest goals and objectives for the rest of 25?
Well, our big, we have our revenue goals and all of that, but our biggest one is really the adoption of AI into our organization. The beginning of this month, we launched our own internal, it's called Rubin, large language model, maybe small language, LLM, whatever you want to do, but it's contained within ourselves. We set up our own libraries. We have assistants. How can we help help our teams generate more efficient reports, more research? So really adopting AI into our organization. How do we be much more efficient? AI, in my view, will maybe beyond when I'm done working, was never meant to get you 100% output, but it is the greatest efficiency tool that organizations have since the Industrial Revolution, without a doubt, of how to do work faster, smarter, better, quality controls, and all of that. So we're working a lot on integrating that. The second is it's a whole new world and has been this way for a while of how do you use a global workforce? How do you use creative teams that are located overseas? How do you use people that are outside your state or outside your country for work product? How do you use people in the US just in different locations, which we do a lot of, but how do you adapt a global workforce to, again, always provide the best product for your clients, product services?
100%. Yeah, I mean, I think with AI, it's interesting. And I'm curious in terms of like your own internal tool. Obviously, it can help with reporting, but do you also use it for like an assistant, for example, like, to replicate yourself? Right. Obviously, I'm sure that you're busy and maybe you have people on your team that might have questions. They could ask AI to, instead of, hey, like, let me, Slack or chat David, I can just chat like the AI tool and they can give me answers.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the one thing that I will tell you, not many people are slacking me for marketing questions because I'm not really involved day to day anymore. I have a great team that does that. But yes, to the rest of your questions, it's how can they work with each other? How can the questions that teams asked or had 3 months ago be in the AI to say, hey, how do we deal with this last time? How do we upload statements, or not how? We're uploading statements of work and then matching that with finished product to see how close are we to the time we estimated to get stuff done. What do we learn from that? How do we provide more accurate statements of work, cost estimates to our clients in the future? I just literally this morning read the first financial report from our director of finance that all of the month's January financials were uploaded into Rubin with last year's also. And I got my first Rubin generated financial report on month over month comparison with an analysis of where we're behind last year, where we're ahead, and things to be looking at.
It's awesome. Yeah, I mean, AI is fascinating. So I guess just to wrap, right, in terms of, you've been an entrepreneur for some time and, I'm sure lots of ups and downs. So if you could go back in time to before you got started, what is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew?
Well, first, Dan, thanks for saying I've been doing it a long time and not saying you're ancient and old, which is somewhat true. So thank you for being kind. My greatest learnings, first of all, never, ever, ever stop learning and growing. I am a member of EO, which is an international organization of entrepreneurs. I've had some leadership roles in that. And while I'm a big fan of EO, there's lots of other ones out there. Be part of something where you're in a peer group of people that you're learning from every day, people who can experience, share with you of what they did right, what they did wrong, what didn't work. They're kind of like not only my board of directors, but also my psychologist some days, which, oh my God, guys, I screwed this up so bad. And then one of them goes, oh, you think that's bad? Here's what I did. So it always makes me feel better. So never stop learning and growing. And the second is, if you hire somebody that isn't smarter than you in your leadership team and some other things, don't hire them. I have an unbelievable, great team right now, president of the organizations that, just does way better than I did. You got to just accept, especially as an entrepreneur, that you got to have the right people on and let them do their best job. And don't think the organization's going to fail without you. So learn and grow, hire the right people and let them do their stuff. Put the right accountability checks in place, but get out of their way and let them, do their thing to make you successful.
That's awesome. So if somebody watching this wanted to reach out to you or wanted to get in touch with your business, what's the best way for them to find you personally and also to find your business?
Yeah, a couple of things. I'm going to put a shameless plug in for my book, Leaders Not a Title, which you can find on Amazon. You can also go to my website, DWA. My middle name's Wayne, DWA at dwaleadership.com. And you can see I do some coaching, executive team coaching, building high performing teams. I speak, I sit on some boards of directors. You can email me directly at DWA at DWA Leadership. If you go to the site, great ways to get, and happy to help anybody that I can in any way.
So, well, David, thank you so much for your time today.
All right. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it. Great show.
Of course.